Fort Tilden is quite an interesting. It's sort of like a next generation, a generational type of story. Who came up with the idea and how?
I think we both did, and we were talking about it on the East River when we were the summer that we filmed it in 2013 in the spring. We had been talking about doing a web series together, and one of the episode ideas that we came up with was about these two girls who try to get to Fort Tilden. And then as we were talking about it, we kept thinking about more funny things that could happen to them on the way. And as we were talking, we thought this could actually be a feature. And then we decided to make it that summer, and that's how it originated.
Now, how did you develop the characters? It's not like based on particular people in your lives or observations, right?
It's based on pieces of a lot of people, and pieces of ourselves too. I think there's a lot of inspiration to draw from friends and friends of friends, and the kind of crazy stories people tell about each other. So there's a lot of anecdotes that work their way in or transform somehow in the story. But we also are just exploring things about ourselves and the things that you don't want to admit about yourself.
Yeah, this was sort of like I said, it was sort of like a generation piece. We're talking about like the next generation or Generation I, the younger generation who uses like Instagram and texting, but in their own way, they're almost like selfies or conceited. Is that what you're trying to go for?
I think that they are who they are. They're very much who they are, and not apologetic for that until they are confronted with themselves. When we were writing it, we weren't thinking let's make this about our generation. We really were just making it about these two girls that happen to live in the in the world that we live in, and what is going on now is that people that we know have Instagram, and it's a big part of their daily lives, and that just became part of the film because of the nature of how these girls live.
Now, the title of the film, Fort Tilden, is only the destination, but the movie's not about the destination. It's more of the journey. Why did you go with that approach?
I think there's something nice about the road trip genre, because you literally do have to go from point A to point B, and that can be, not to sound too big about it, but that can be a metaphor of life and the journey that you go through. So the characters experience a lot of mishaps and a lot of self-created problems along the way, and that can kind of reflect the way they conduct their lives. So a part of the journey of getting to Fort Tilden is that in New York it's both very easy and very hard to get to places, and Fort Tilden is just hard enough for these characters to have a very hard day getting there.
Now, for us New Yorkers, we never even heard of Fort Tilden. I mean, is this a well-known local place in New York, or is this some off the wall?
It's a beach in the Rockaways that a lot of young people go to during the summer. It's kind of like this. I think it's becoming more and more popular. We were in New York, obviously, when we made the movie, and before then, and we have both gone, and it's kind of a destination that young people like to go to.
We actually just did an interview where somebody was saying a lot of people think Fort Tilden's over now. So I feel like everyone has a different relationship to how well they know the beach.
Uh-huh. Now, you guys have developed a partnership in both the writing and directing. How did you guys just sit down together and do it, or one at a time, or take turns? How did you develop? What kind of partnership did you have on this project?
We would always be together whenever we were working on it. If we were writing the script, we were sitting at the same computer. We never wrote 10 pages and then he wrote 10 pages. It was always a discussion, and we would have a history in acting, and so we would kind of improvise the characters' lines as we were writing. And then because of that, when we were directing, it became very much the same kind of process. Sometimes he would say action, and sometimes I would say action, or we'd say it at the same time. But it was like we shared a brain for a really long time, so it didn't. There wasn't much separation.
Now, you mentioned acting. You also me cameos
Yeah.
for yourself. Did you just decided to do that?
Yeah. Well, we thought it would be fun if the characters needed help from us, and we were not able to guide them.
Being the directors and all.
Yes, we thought that would be a really complicated meta scenario to add a literary element to the film.
Now, was it obviously there is a script, but you're working with a comedy like this. Was there a lot of improv or ad-libbing?
There's some improv. The movie is chock full of improvisers. Mostly everyone in the film is a comedian. So it's a movie that generally sticks to the script, but I think that there's a quality that improvisers bring that has that looseness and that feeling of playfulness to it. The most improv-y the film got were the collection of gay guys in the park. That's sort of they could not be stopped from improvising.
It's just they're just cracking jokes left and right. Right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you suppose was the greatest challenge for this film, like an indie project like this?
Not having the resources that we would want. I mean, I think that if we had more money, the only difference that we would have done would be to make the whole production more comfortable. But that said, we really loved the whole process of it and how it was very guerrilla style, and that was part of what made it special in a way.
Time as well. We shot the movie in 18 days too. It was a quick production, but I think all of those things that were restricting also worked their way into the DNA of the film, and I think there's something kind of special about films under restrictions.
Now, tell me about the recruitment of the two actresses. You decided to go with two actresses who this is their first feature acting debut. Why did you went with those two actresses rather than veteran actresses?
We had considered getting Kate Holmes and Whoopi Goldberg.
That would be an interesting movie.
Claire McNulty, who plays Allie, she is one of my best friends from college, and I've worked with her a lot, and I knew how incredibly talented she was. And then when we ended up casting her, we started writing the part for her, and then Charles showed me videos of her online that she had posted, and they were so funny and smart and interesting. And we weren't really thinking about this as being like a bankable movie. It was really more
the art.
Yeah, the art of it, and I think that worked well for this film. Everyone is so talented, and already it's only been a year since it premiered, and the talent in the film that we got, they're becoming more and more successful, and I'm so happy to have been able to work with them on such a low budget before we might not have been able to.
Now, I did have a question though. There's a lot of references to Harper's dad. Who is he?
He is. He does bad things. He makes a lot of money by doing bad things.
Yeah. What is in the movie is all that we want you to know. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. That the small little hints about what kind of person he is.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe even Harper doesn't exactly know.
Right.
So.
Well, it looks like she doesn't know, but
yeah.
And who came up with the song that the twins sing at the beginning?
Oh, the twins did.
Really?
At the beginning of the film, that's a song that they wrote when they were 15, that they still know every word to, and the song at the end of the film is something they wrote more recently.
Wow. Now, I also did want to ask, is the nude beach scene, was that a difficult thing to film, especially for two young actresses who weren't really that much experience in the middle of New York?
It was an okay experience. I mean, they all had a handle on the scene and why it needed to happen. The only thing that made it weird, I mean, I think all the actors were pretty comfortable. It was a sophisticated experience. Didn't feel like scandalous when we were doing it. But there was one man who would not turn his chair around and was like staring. It was like some stranger, and I had to go and like ask this person to face the opposite direction because he was creeping people out.
Yeah, that does seem actually kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So, in the future, let's talk about some of your future projects. Are you two going to do more collaborations with each other? And could you talk about some of your projects?
Well, we wrote for Wet Hot American Summer together as a writing team, and the next season of Mozart in the Jungle. And then we have a pilot that we are working on right now that we'll see what the future holds for that.
Yeah, Hot American Summer is on my next binge list to
It's
to
really
watch.
good.
It's really, really
No, you're not selling it because
No.
it's
No, it's just really
It's
good.
just really good. Yeah.
awesome. Well, hey, terrific. Hey, thank you for this conversation, and I thoroughly enjoyed Fort Tilden.
Thank you.
Even though, in my opinion, they never quite make it to Fort Tilden in its own way, right?
Sure.
None of us do, though. You know.
No, you never make it to Fort Tilden.
Yeah, no, I was this morning I had a conversation with this with a British friend, and she says, it's about the journey, not the destination. And I said, no, it's about the destination because
You want to get that good great plot.
You wouldn't have the journey without the destination.
It's true.
And in this case, it's all about the journey. Well, hey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
and
Thank
you
you.
for taking the time on this nice, warm California summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.